The next French president is facing a deteriorating strategic environment for France. There are classic strategic problems such as migration, instability in Africa, the incomplete and unstable nature of the Eurozone, which affect France. But then there are 4 or perhaps 4.5 new horsemen of the apocalypse that are real problems for France. And they are Donald Trump, a US president who is not sure he still believes in NATO, has cast doubt on the US strategic guarantee for Europe. Brexit, France's biggest military ally in Europe, Britain, the country which in many ways is closest to France in terms of its defense capabilities, leaving the European Union. And although it says it wants to continue defense cooperation, we're not sure how that will really work once they leave. There is Islamic State, Daesh as it's called in France, which is carrying out attacks inside France and on French interests around the Middle East and Africa, which has territory and is connected with young people, Muslims, often of immigrant origin, inside France, who are getting radicalized, who are in touch via social media, and who, in some cases, are turning violent. So that's what the French regard as their most urgent strategic threat. And then there are other threats, such as more distant threats, but still perceived as threats by many people in France, such as Vladimir Putin's behavior in Russia and the threat that that poses to Eastern Europe. And potentially the threat of instability in Turkey, where a country that's very important, strategically located, and that is the gatekeeper to Europe, is going through big domestic political ructions and changes. So those are the problems he faces. He has very high quality armed forces, which have in fact been very active in intervening and in new missions, both in Africa and North Africa, but also domestically in helping secure domestic security since the 2015 terrorist attacks in France. But it's an army that is overstretched, overspent, that is short of money and equipment, and therefore he has to find some way of modernizing those armed forces, of stepping up France's defense capabilities without necessarily having all the financial resources to do it. And that means, in my view, that France can't do it all alone anymore.